Hi guys, I am here at Winter Brawl 9 with Markman of Mad Catz and the Tekken scene. How are you today?
I'm actually doing really well. It's been a while since I've been out to the East Coast for a fighting game event, so I'm actually really happy to be here.
Now we are on finals day and it's starting to wrap up and get near the end. How's your experience been, well, for the whole tournament?
Well, in general, for the whole event, I mean, like I mentioned, it's been a while since I've been out here in a fighting game capacity, so it's actually really nice to see a lot of old faces, meet a lot of new people, and I think it's just good to be out here and just feel the energy, because it's a bit different from like where I'm from. Like, I'm from the West Coast. Even though there's hype there's a different kind of hype when you go out to the East Coast. The players and the personalities out here, they just shine a bit more for me, so I really enjoy being out here. So it's been good so far.
That's great. And yeah, I think Cubano Loco, he came to his first East Coast tournament at NEC 15, and he said the same thing in my interview with him. He said, you know, the tournaments are a lot different. He said it's like a whole new hype here. You know, they just, you know, we'll just clap hands or whatever and say great job. He's like, but here it's very loud. He said, and everybody's really hype and jumping around and screaming. Now, a lot of people know you as kind of almost like, you know, the face of Tekken, the face of Mad Catz. You do a lot of work with Mad Catz and with Harada. Tell us a little bit about, you know, what fighting games you started off playing, you know, your involvement in the scene as it grew and how you got to where you are now, working for Mad Catz and for Harada.
Sure. Well, it's a long story. I'm going to give you the Cliff's Note version, but I first started playing fighting games like many people with Street Fighter 2. When Street Fighter 2 really got popular in the arcades, a lot of people took notice, myself included, and I was a young kid then, and I really got into it. I thought it was a very interesting game, and the fact that you could really compete with other people and test yourself against other people's minds, that's what really compelled me to actually want to try to learn the game. And I played fighting games on and off. I mean, there was an influx of fighting games in the early 90s. There was like the Fatal Furies, King of Fighters, all kinds of different games. But then there was this one later towards the mid-90s that came out called Tekken that I really grew to love. I mean, it was a very unique, it was a 3D fighting game. And I just really fell in love with the story. I fell in love with the characters. And eventually I started playing it competitively, growing more accustomed to the internet, like finding different areas to gather with different Tekken players, different Tekken fans, and I ended up just like really liking the game. So just as far as my involvement in Tekken and fighting games in general goes, we ended up having a local community in San Diego where I'm from, and it really built up from there. We got more serious about the game, we started traveling, and eventually we just got so involved in the game, so vocal with it on the internet, that people started to take notice of not just my group, but also myself and our website. And we just started doing more things for the community in general, not just for our local community. And that's where it really grew from. It's grown from more of like a hobby, more to a really a fanatic kind of. It was a really different thing. It's like you can't really describe it. It was more of like the natural progression would be to reach out to the companies that make the games and that work on the games and try to see if there's more that we can do, not just for the game but also for the community itself. Right. And kind of marrying, it's a fairly new concept with gaming in general and gaming communities. Right. So it was really an early on kind of thing, and I know the developers were really new to it. They never really worked on having outside feedback, especially from fans. So it was pretty cool that we got to really interact with people that worked on the games, but eventually getting all the way to the top with like people like Harada, who actually is in charge of the game, and not just working with them but also becoming friends with them, and that's something that's really cool. And stuff like that happened because just working with gaming, I love gaming. I've been in love with gaming all my life, and I've been very close and attached to it. I felt like I got really lucky, especially living in San Diego. San Diego used to be a fairly strong hub for the gaming industry. They had Midway, Sony of America was there. There was another company as well called Mad Catz that was out there. And Mad Catz back in the day, I don't know how you feel about it, but when I was younger, the term Mad Catz was a negative. It was one of those things where I would be like, oh man, they make weird controllers. I didn't really like them. So when I had the opportunity to work for them, I was a bit hesitant at first. I eventually ended up working for them in a different department, not the one I'm involved in now. And I got to be honest with you, I wasn't too confident in the products. I was a bit embarrassed to tell people I worked for Mad Catz, but I mean, it was a job, I had to do it, right? So I got really lucky working at Mad Catz because in that time, I ended up meeting a lot of people within the company, especially people within the marketing and the product development team. And they noticed that I would always go to work and bring an arcade stick with me. And during lunch breaks, I would play like Tekken 5 or other games. And they were like, hey, you know anything about arcade sticks? And I was like, and at the time, I felt that I knew a lot about arcade sticks. I probably had one of the bigger, if not the biggest collections of arcade sticks around. And I was like, yeah, I know everything about arcade sticks. So that meeting with the product manager at the time, it ended up going further, and we ended up finding out like, hey, we should probably work together and make a line of arcade sticks for a new game that's going to be coming out. And later I found out that I was going to be in charge of helping with the design for the Street Fighter 4 products back in 2008. So yeah, I'm not just the community guy at Mad Catz. That's eventually what my role turned into, but I also helped develop and help design the arcade sticks back in 2008. And we released them in 2009 when the game came out, and it's been a roller coaster ride since. We've been so involved. We, as in Mad Catz, have been so involved with the fighting game community. It's grown so much in the past 5-6 years that it's really, I don't think anyone could have imagined it would have been this big since that boom of Street Fighter 4 when it first came out. And that really helped a lot of things as far as the gaming community goes. I got more involved in the marketing side, more involved with the community side. I ended up becoming the global sponsorship and community manager at Mad Catz, and that's when things really took off for Mad Catz as a whole as far as support for fighting games. We ended up doing a lot more, not just with the community, but also with different game publishers, developers. You can see now, I mean, our portfolio, we've worked with Arc System Works, we've worked with Sega, we've worked with Atlas, we've worked with Bandai Namco, of course with Capcom, but pretty much everyone that's out there that's a major player in fighting games, we've worked with them in some capacity, either by making an arcade stick for them, helping them out at events, showcasing their titles at events. There's really a lot that we've done, and we've grown great relationships with the companies involved, but not just that, but also the communities that play their games. And I think it's a great feeling that we're able to kind of marry it together in a certain way that it's not just about the game, it's not just about the hardware, but it's also about the community and the people that support it. So I'm a big proponent, big fan of that kind of stuff, and I'm glad that we're able to do that stuff and really kind of make it a career out of it. It's kind of crazy. I think about it, and whenever someone would ask me like, hey, how did you get involved with this? And my gut answer, my gut reaction is it was an accident. But I mean, it kind of was an accident, but we worked hard to make it happen. So that's what I tell people. You have to have some luck, you have to have some faith, and a lot of perseverance in what you're doing, and that's really what brought me to where I was with Mad Catz, and eventually working with not just Bandai Namco and the Tekken team, but everyone else involved that I actually work with and keep up with nowadays, which is a lot of people. Now,
obviously, you're right, the scene has just grown rapidly. I love fighting games, when I was a kid, and I always played them on the arcade machines, but when, I asked my parents for the consoles and for the games in general, they were just like, no, little girl shouldn't play fighting games, we're not getting the fighting games for you. So, and then a couple years ago, I was reintroduced to it again, and I was told that there was, a fighting game community scene and tournaments. I was like, no, there wasn't. And when I started watching it, streaming, getting involved in it, and then about a year and a half ago, I started getting physically involved in like showing up to events, and it's grown even so rapidly in the past couple of years that I've been watching it. And even now in 2015, there's so many new and exciting things that are coming out, especially game-wise, in this year since, PS4 and Xbox One were released. Now, speaking of that, Mad Catz obviously has a lot of involvement in the community now, producing new arcade sticks and products for the community. Is there anything that you guys are currently working on that you're able to tell me about that you kind of have plans for the future?
Sure. Wow, okay, so the future is something at Mad Catz that we're always planning for. A lot of people probably don't seem to think so because they're only focused on the present, but I've been traveling a lot lately, and I'm actually working on. I'm the community manager now, and that's my title. But there's a lot of other things that we do at Mad Catz to help. We work as a team, obviously, but I've been doing a lot of traveling lately, a lot of research, and a lot of planning and designing for upcoming products. One of the products that we've been working on, and I know a lot of people have been asking about, is when we're making a next gen fight pad or a new fight pad, and that's something that we've been working on very hard for the past few, I want to say maybe half a year. But we've been doing a lot of research, and we are planning on doing something big in the near future. I can't really detail what, but obviously this year is a huge year for fighting games. There's been a ton of announcements from a lot of companies already, and next year even more so exciting. So Mad Catz is obviously paying very close attention to it, and we are going to be doing a lot of cool stuff in the near future. And we just ask that people stay patient and stay hopeful, because we will come out with a lot of cool stuff, and it's not going to be stuff that will break the bank. Like people are used to seeing us with the $200 arcade sticks now. We're going to pay attention to what the scene wants and what the scene asks for. So we're not only going to make $200 arcade sticks, we're going to work on a lot of other stuff to complement that series of products.
That's great to hear. And speaking of the new games, Tekken 7 is obviously one that's coming out, and you do work for Harada for Tekken and Namco Bandai. What are you able to tell us about Tekken 7 and what the Tekken community can, or new up-and-coming players of Tekken, can expect from the game?
I could tell you about it from two perspectives. I could tell you about it from a work perspective, and I could also tell you about it from a Tekken fan perspective. So I'm part of the Tekken project team. I don't work officially for Bandai Namco. My job is with Mad Catz. But I've worked so closely with Michael Murray and Harada-san from the Tekken team that we actually have a great relationship where we actually discuss what to do, not just for the game but also for the community. And I think it's a very important step to see that Harada is as involved as he is. And if you look at him on Twitter and on social media, he's very involved. He replies to as many tweets and questions as he can, and I have to hand it off to him because that's really hard to do. It's really hard to face your critics, and he handles it so well. Some people might not agree, that he might just get angry sometimes here and there, but he's expressing himself, which is important, because most of the time you don't get that interaction with game developers or designers. So I think it's a great job that he's actually expressing himself to the fans. So that being said, I'm really looking forward to Tekken 7. I actually got to play it about a week and a half ago when I was out in Japan. And it's an amazing experience so far. As a fan from the game, I'm really looking forward to it. It's not as complicated as Tekken Tag 2 because you don't have to worry about having two characters or fighting against a team. It's back to that one-on-one atmosphere, and it just really is a nice change of pace. It's still Tekken to the core, but then there's a lot of things that have been added, and there's just a lot of mystery behind it. There's a lot of things that haven't been announced, that haven't been shown, that would, I think, really surprise the Tekken fan. And that's what I'm really looking forward to seeing, is what new things that the Tekken project team has in store for us and how the fans will react to it. That's what I'm really looking forward to.
Well, I think that a lot of people are looking forward to seeing the game as well. Just want to thank you so much for taking the time out to sit down and answer a few questions with me. The last question I have, it's kind of my signature question that I like to ask in all my interviews. But if you could be one fighting game character and one superhero, who would it be and why?
Okay, this is kind of tough and kind of easy. The fighting game character question is kind of hard because I'm like, most fighting game characters that I know and I like have problems. I don't know if I want their problem. Maybe, okay.
You don't want to be Kazuya?
No. Well, actually, you know, Kazuya is one of his things that he likes, is like in the old Tekken profiles from the games, one of his hobbies was collecting sneakers, and I like sneakers a lot too. So yeah, I'm pretty much in tune with Kazuya. I'll take that one. So I want to be Kazuya. I want to do that world domination thing, take over the world, and collect shoes. That works for me. But as far as superhero goes, I think it's a no-brainer. I'll pick Superman, because that's no one can mess with you, really. Very few can mess with you. You have one weakness. Who cares if everyone knows it? You still fly around and do a lot of cool stuff.
All right, no one can defeat your kryptonite. All right, well, thank you again, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of the tournament, and I will be in touch in the future.